Morning, students. Today we are going to see about personality disorders. So, what is the definition for personality? Personality is defined as a deeply ingrained pattern of behavior that includes modes of perception, relating to, and thinking about oneself and the surrounding environment. What is personality disorder? Personality disorder results when these personality traits become abnormal, that is, become inflexible and maladaptive and cause significant social or occupational impairment or significant subjective distress. Personality is defined as a deeply ingrained pattern. That means it's from the birth, it slowly develops and it becomes a part and parcel of your behavior. How you see the perceive the world, how you relate others' gestures, how you relate others' thinking to yourself, and how you relate the environment around you towards you. So, all these over a period of your growth that makes some changes in your behavior is called personality. So, each and every person has a different personality. When it becomes a disorder, when you are not able to adjust with others, when the behavior in you causes problem in others, then it becomes a personality disorder. So it is a personality trait when it becomes abnormal. It is when it is inflexible, maladaptive, and cause significant social or occupational impairment and subject to distress. Then it should be treated. So we have three clusters: cluster A, cluster B, cluster C. Each and every cluster has shares some common features. So it has been made into clusters. Say for example, cluster A, those people will be odd and eccentric. If you say take 100 people, these people will be out of that 100. That is 10 people will be eccentric. Their behavior, their attitude will be different from other 90%. So these are called odd and eccentric. Whereas B is dramatic and erratic. These peoples will have dramatic characters, erratic characters in their personality. So they commonly share this behavior. And C is anxious and fearful. So these characters, these cluster C patients will always share these anxious traits. So cluster A is paranoid schizophrenia, paranoid personality disorder, schizoid personality disorder, schizotypal disorder, personality disorder. And B is antisocial personality disorder, borderline personality disorder, histrionic personality disorder, narcissistic personality disorder. And cluster C is avoidant personality disorder, dependent personality disorder, OCPD, obsessive compulsive personality disorder. It is also called as antisocial disorder. So, definition for personality disorder by ICD-10. It has some few points to diagnose a person with some personality disorder. First point is markedly disharmonious attitudes and behavior involving usually several areas of functioning. For example, affectivity, arousal, impulse control, ways of perceiving and thinking, and style of relating to others. Okay. So based on all these characters, we can diagnose a person with disorder, personality disorder. There will be a disharmonious attitude and behavior involving these areas. And then abnormal behavior pattern is enduring. It is lifelong, it's continuous, long-standing and not limited to episodes of mental illness. It is not like episodes, now and then it comes, it is persistent. The abnormal behavior pattern is pervasive and clearly maladaptive to a broad range of personal social situations. Because of these personality traits or attitudes, they suffer some form of problem in their personal social domains. The above manifestations always appear during childhood or adolescence and continue into adulthood. This disorder leads to considerable personal distress, but this may only become apparent late in its course. So previously, the parents or the person themselves will not know that they are having this personality disorder. Over a course of time, they will come to know that they are suffering from some form of personality disorder and they come for consultation. Then the disorder is usually, but not invariably, associated with significant problems in occupational social performance. Coming to first personality disorder is paranoid personality disorder. This disorder is very common in males. Okay. See, out of the 7 traits, ICD-10 says that at least if 3 is present out of 7, then you can diagnose a person with paranoid personality disorder. What are those 7 traits? Excessive sensitiveness. For even small things also they will be very sensitive. For even small silly reasons, they become very sensitive. They throw anger outburst. Tendency to persistently bear grudges. It might have happened some 10 years back. Now also they bear grudge on the particular person or some other, even for society towards community. Say but they have a tendency to bear grudges. Significant suspicion. This is the core symptom of this paranoid personality. Always they have suspicious. For even for normal gestures, they will be very suspicious. Even if I try to comb my hair, they will think that I'm going to take my knife from the back of my shirt. So, for even normal gestures, normal things, they will be very suspicious. Combative and tenacious sense of personal right. For them, whatever they say, it is correct. You cannot argue with them. If you argue, it ends up with the quarrel. And recurrent suspiciousness about the fidelity of partner without justification. Because of this suspiciousness, they frequently start suspecting the loyalty of the wife. She is not true to me, she is having affair with somebody like that. If it is a female, it is vice versa. The tendency to experience excessive self-importance. For them, you should give very more importance to them. Whatever they say, you should acknowledge. Whatever they do, you should not find fault. So they need a very excessive self-importance. Preoccupation with unsubstantiated conspiration explanation of the events. That means the incident would have occurred coincidentally, but they say it was pre-planned. You people have indulged in all these activities. You have already planned and you are doing to harm me. Like that, everything they will be preoccupied. Of these 7, if you have 3 traits, you can diagnose. As I mentioned before, it is very common in males. Psychodynamically, the defense mechanism responsible is projection. Paranoid personality disorder is common in the pre-morbid personality. Some persons of paranoid schizophrenia. That means if you have pre-morbidly have this personality trait, you are more likely to develop paranoid schizophrenia. The chance of developing is it's factor. The differential diagnosis is delusional disorder and paranoid schizophrenia. You have to rule out these 2. Moving to treatment for individual psychotherapy and supportive psychotherapy. Here, the response to treatment is usually poor. The patients often do not seek treatment on their own. Recent treatment, drug treatment is a very limited one. This means these persons, they will be always brought by the attenders because of their problems, because they might have caused some problems in the home or surrounding area or in the working place. So they will bring in for consultation. Even in consultation, they will be very much guarded. They won't open up so easily. If at all you stop treatment also, they won't continue the treatment. The complaints will be very poor. They don't believe in the treatment. First of all, they don't accept the diagnosis also. So it's very difficult to treat such patients. Supportive psychotherapy will be helpful in such cases. If at all pharmacological treatment is needed, there is very obvious in this irritability, mild doses of antipsychotics can be added. Let's move to next personality, schizoid personality disorder. Here, out of these 9 traits, even 3 is present, then you can diagnose a person as schizoid personality. Emotional coldness, lack of pressure from activities, limited capacity to express feelings towards others, apparent indifference to praise or criticism, little interest in sexual experiences, preference of solitary activities, excessive preoccupation with fantasy and introspection, lack of close friends, marked insensitivity to prevailing social norms and conventions. So, emotional coldness, it means they don't share their emotions, they don't show their emotions, even they're happy, even they're sad, even if you criticize, always they will have a same emotion. That is called emotional coldness. And they don't seek any pleasures from the activities, so they don't prefer doing any activities. Limited, as I mentioned before, limited capacity to express feeling towards others. Apparent indifference to praise or criticism. Little interest in sexual experience. They don't show much of interest in their sexual experiences. Always they prefer solitary activities. So if you see these schizoid personality persons, if at all they go for jobs, they prefer only night duty jobs because there will be lack of interaction. Number of persons will be very less. So always they prefer those jobs. Wherever they go, they want to be always in. They want to be alone. They don't want unnecessary interpersonal talks, interpersonal interactions. They don't like that. And they will be living in the world of fantasy, imagination, always. And because of this solitary seeking behavior, they always lack close friends. They don't have regular friends. Then and there they will speak that all. They don't share anything to anybody. Marked insensitivity, including social norms and controls. They least bother about these social norms or rules, regulations. Since they live in their imagination, they least bother about that. They also mostly they won't come with the real world. They don't engage in the social crowds, public crowds, etc. They don't come into the real life. Wherever there is a crowd, they will try to avoid because they prefer only solitary. Where there is a very less crowd, they will prefer that place. So, onset in early childhood with stable course over the years, predisposed to the development of schizophrenia. Like paranoid, schizoid personality disorder also predisposes to development of schizophrenia. Treatment is individual psychotherapy, psychoanalysis, psychoanalytical psychotherapy, gradual involvement in group psychotherapy. Patients often do not seek treatment on their own, and the response to treatment is usually not good. Drug treatment clearly has a limited. We have to do psychoanalysis. What is seen in their mind, what is present in their mind. Based on that, you can tailor make the treatment of the psychotherapy. You can slowly involve them in group psychotherapy. As paranoid schizophrenia, these fellows also will not seek treatment on their own. The response to treatment is usually not good. So if at all, we will give many doses of antipsychotics. Coming to schizotypal personality disorder. Here, at least out of 9, at least 3 to 4 should be present. These are the traits: inappropriate or constricted affect, odd, eccentric or peculiar behavior, poor rapport with others and social withdrawal, odd beliefs or magical thinking, suspicious of paranoid ideas, obsessive ruminations without inner resistance, unusual perceptual experiences, vague circumstantial metaphorical and stereotype thinking, occasional transit quasi-psychotic episodes. They are also like schizoid. They also will have the constricted affect. It means they won't express their emotions, and there will be odd, eccentric, and peculiar behaviors they will have. Poor rapport with others and social withdrawal. It's self-explanatory. Odd beliefs of magical thinking. Odd beliefs of magical thinking means, say, for example, while walking, if I walk over the tiles, they will walk with every second tiles they will keep their foot. So they think if they walk continuously, some bad thing will happen. If we walk on every second tiles, everything will go smooth. Like that, some form of, I'm giving an example. This is called magical thinking. And suspiciousness, obviously. Like paranoid, schizophrenia, paranoid disorder also, here also suspicion will be very common. Obsessive ruminations without inner resistance. They will be having frequent regular thoughts, which are disturbed. Actually, there will be inner resistance in the OCD. Whereas here they don't have any inner resistance. They will frequently get some thoughts. Unusual perceptual experiences. It means suddenly they might have some form of a mild hallucinations, visual, olfactory, auditory, any form. Suddenly they will have unusual types of perceptual experiences. And stereotyped thinking, as I mentioned before, there will be repeated thinking. Occasional transpsychotic psychotic episode, very short, intense form of psychotic episodes. With illusions, hallucinations, delusional behaviors, etc. will be present. This disorder lies between schizoid personality disorder and schizophrenia and schizophrenic continuum. Okay, if we draw a line, one is schizoid personality and schizophrenia, this schizotype falls under some type. It is more commonly seen in individuals related to patients with schizophrenia and is believed to be part of the genetic spectrum of schizophrenia. However, its onset, evolution, and course are usually those of a personality disorder. It usually runs a chronic course. Treatment. There also we can try with mild antipsychotics. The response to treatment is usually poor except for brief psychotic episodes which I mentioned. Further, if you use antipsychotics, there will be good response. Again, here also the treatment psychoanalysis and psychoanalytic psychotherapy, visual psychotherapy, and therapy. I mentioned before. With this, we are finished this cluster A personality disorder. Now coming to cluster B, antisocial personality disorder. Now it was renamed as dissocial personality disorder. So out of the six, at least three traits should be present. Callous unconcern for the feeling of others. And that means the least bother about others' feelings. You are crying, you are laughing, you are frightened. The least bother about anything what you do. For them, their job has to be done. That is callous unconcern. Lack of feeling to other fellow human being. Gross and persistent attitude of irresponsibility and disregard for social norms, rules, and regulations, obligations. But they don't follow any rules, any regulations, even in traffic. They will go the signals red when they will cross the road. I'm giving some examples here. They don't follow it. If you have to stand in a line, they don't stand there directly go to the queue, front of the queue. So they follow. They don't follow this any social regulation. Anybody cannot control them. Incapacity to maintain enduring relationship because of their poor tolerated frustration levels. They cannot have a good relationship continuously with a single person. Frequently, they will land up with impure conflicts. They may break up their emotions. Very low tolerance to frustration and low threshold for discharge of aggression. Here, tolerance level is very, very low. If only with a one word, immediately indulge in violence. And the low threshold for discharge of aggression. Immediately he will become aggressive. No capacity to experience guilt and to profit from experience, particularly punishment. Normally, punishment is given for a person to prevent or to not to repeat his previous mistakes. But in antisocial, even if you punish them, they don't bother about the punishment. They again and again do the same. For example, they have committed murder and went to prison. And again, after 6 months, when they come out of the prison, again they will do that. So they don't bother why we are being punished. They, for them, whatever they want to do, they will do. Not the prudence to blame others. Always, they don't accept any blames. They will try to blame other persons, even if they have done mistakes. There may also be persistent irritability as an associated feature. Okay, the person will be always irritable. History of conduct disorder in childhood and adolescence, though not invariably present, may further support the diagnosis. If you take a detailed history or childhood history of this antisocial personality, surely they will not have had conduct disorder in childhood or adolescence. The 18 years, they are diagnosed as conduct disorder since they are not they cannot be punished by the legal authorities because of the age criteria. Up to 18 years, they will be diagnosed as conduct disorder. After 18 years, they will be diagnosed as antisocial personality disorder and they are liable for the punishment. And there are no psychotic phases in this disorder. So these are some factors that contributes to dissocial personality disorder. This antisocial personality disorder in father. If the father itself is an antisocial personality, obviously the children also will develop antisocial personality disorder in them. And presence of impulsive and inconsistent parents, frequently fighting in front of the child, separated parents, not taking care of the child. These are all some risk factors for developing conduct disorder, followed by personality disorder, antisocial personality disorder. So, presence of soft neurological signs. Here, soft neurological signs are nothing but the symptoms will look like as if there is some neurological disorder. But when you investigate, though no cause could be found, it is for soft neurological signs. And the EEG will be, findings will be non-specific. The presence of conduct of ADHD in childhood will also can develop the social personality disorder. So again, this paranoid disorder. This disorder is also commonly diagnosed in males. The course is usually chronic. However, there is some decrease in the symptoms after the fifth decade in the life of some patients. Patients often do not seek psychiatric help, and if they do, it is usually under the pressure of the legal authority. They might have committed some antisocial activities, so they might be punished by the law. From there, they will send referral to the psychiatrist, assess this patient, and give the diagnosis like that. So usually they themselves are they won't come to the consultation. They will be either forced by the family members or by the legal authorities. The therapeutic alliance, obviously, it is not going to be sustained because of their personality traits. Treatment we can try with some mild doses of antipsychotics to reduce the irritability. Or here the individual psychotherapy, psychoanalysis and psychoanalytic psychotherapy can be done. Group psychotherapy and self-help groups will be useful. Drug therapy, as I mentioned, a mild form of antipsychotics can be used. Coming to next personality disorder, histrionic personality disorder. Out of these 6 traits, at least 3 should be present to diagnose a person as histrionic. Here, contra- here, this personality disorder is more commonly seen in females. Self-dramatization, exaggerated expression of emotions, easily suggestible persons, shallow and labile affectivity, continual attention-seeking attitude, inappropriate selectiveness, over-concern with physical attractiveness. All these are symptoms of this histrionic personality disorder. If at least 3 is present, it is more than enough to diagnose. Self-dramatization means they do all sorts of dramas, exaggerated emotions. There is a pain in a pain scale of 5 out of 10. They will exaggerate as if it is 50 or 500. That much thing they will do. Suggestibility is also better. They can be easily suggested. And the shallow and labile affectivity can be seen. Their affect will be very, very shallow. Immediately they can shatter their emotions. There will be continual attention-seeking attitude. If you see them, wherever they go, they should be paid attention. In that manner, they will either by their exaggerated emotions or by inappropriate selectiveness, they will try to seek their attention. Over concerned with physical attractiveness, they always will be concerned about their wherever they go, even hospitals, even in some to say some sad incidents places. There also they will more concerned about the physical attractiveness. And associated features of this histrionic personality is egocentricity, self-indulgence, continuous longing for appreciation, feeling that are easily hurt, persistent manipulative behavior to achieve own needs, tantrums or anger outbursts of harm. These are associated features in this histrionic personality disorder. And here, if you see the persons, the actions are not planned for any long-term goals. Instead, they want immediate satisfaction and approval. That means now at that moment what I need, they will form a new relationship with some person. They will use them. They will satisfy their needs, and they will live. So you cannot believe them. Okay, their credibility, their characteristic credibility is very, very low. They have exhibitionist traits such as dressing, flamboyantly, mannerisms of speech, motor behavior, etc. will be as if they want to be the center of attraction. And always they want to look charming, beautiful, and seductive. And you can see suicidal gestures frequently in these cases. Want of fulfilling their needs, they will have a habit of threatening others. Interpersonal relationships are often stormy and ungratifying. As I mentioned, is more common in female. Before there is a term called hysteria, which comes under conversion and dissociation disorder. It was previously thought to be more common in the presence of histrionic personality, but recent studies have failed to prove this relationship. Psychodynamically, there are usually intense dependency needs, and the defense mechanism here is acting out and dissociation. Treatment is psychoanalysis, psychoanalytic psychotherapy are modes of treatment which are most successful. Another personality here is narcissistic personality disorder. Narcissism means self-love. They love themselves. So it's a relatively new concept in classification. Usually in this person, there will be ideas of grandiosity, inflated sense of self-importance, preoccupation with fantasies of unlimited success. They think that they have succeeded a lot, even if they have not. And they also share some features of this histrionic, like attention-seeking, dramatic behavior, needs to be praised constantly, and unable to face criticism, etc. And they don't have empathy towards others. They behave with others with exploitative behavior. They will try to exploit others, and the self-esteem is very shaky. Usually, they will have always some inferiority complex in them, and they will be easily distressed by even minor incidents. Treatment is again psychodynamic and psychoanalytical psychotherapy. Coming to the next in cluster B, it's emotionally unstable personality disorder. According to ICD-10, there is a marked tendency to act impulsively without consideration of the consequences, together with affective instability. This disorder is further classified into two types. One is impulsive and borderline. Impulsive is characterized by emotional instability and lack of impulse control. At that moment, they cannot control anything. They will burst out. Outbursts of violence, threatening behavior are common, particularly in response to criticism by others. Borderline is characterized by emotional instability. In addition, patients' own self-image, aims, and internal preferences, example, including a sexual, are often unclear or disturbed. They don't have a clear idea of who am I. Like that, they don't have their own self-perception. There are usually chronic feeling of emptiness. However, they don't get contented. There are always chronic feelings of emptiness. Uh, Liability to become involved in intense and unstable relationships may cause repeated emotional crises associated with the excessive efforts to avoid abandonment and a series of suicidal threats or acts of self-harm. Frequently, they will do self-inflicting behaviors, especially in the wrist, neck, etc. Actually, their motive is not they don't want to die, but more want of threatening others and to liberate their emotional anger outburst. They engage in such activities. There is a significant and persistent disturbance of identity of self. Example, who am I? There is a marked uncertainty about major issues in life, unstable and intense interpersonal issues. Because of this impulsivity, frequent repair issues, they don't have close friends. They frequently change their friends. The impulsivity is present, unstable emotional responses, rapid shift, anger, outburst, chronic feelings of boredom, emptiness with instability to stay alone. Deliberate self-harms and self-mutilation, social injustice, and accident problems are very common. So when these persons, when they come to consultation, they come with secondary depressive symptoms because of this. They will always say, "No one is believing me. No one is doing this work." Like that, they will come for consultation. Because of their personality disorder, they perceive the world in a negative way. So they will have depressive episodes. Treatment again, we can have the antidepressants and the antipsychotics, psychoanalysis, psychotherapy, and supportive psychotherapy. But the specific treatment for psychotherapy is dialectical behavior therapy. Even CBT can be given, but the choice when you go, you can go to dialectical behavior therapy. They mainly concentrate on their negative aspect of thinking and response of change in the behavior. They try to alter their behavior in this therapy. In drug therapy, as I mentioned before, the antidepressants can be given. You can also use mood stabilizers like lithium, valproate, carbamazepine, etc. to control aggression and impulsivity. Drug therapy is not a treatment of first choice for body personal disorder. The DBT should be given followed by drug therapy. With this, we have completed cluster B, and we are entering to cluster C. Out of these 6 traits, 3 traits should be present. Here, all these 3 will share anxious traits. Cluster C. Persistent, pervasive feeling of tension and apprehension. Always, these persons, for no reason, they will be in an anxious state. Believe that one is socially, personally unappealing, inferior to others. So before we used to say inferiority complex. That is nothing but this anxious personality. So always they feel that they are very inferior to others. They will be preoccupied with whether others will criticize them. So they avoid this speaking to others. Unless otherwise they are very sure that they won't comment them, they will go and speak. Willingness to become involved in people unless certain being like restrictions in life because of need of physical security, avoidance of social or occupational activities that involve significant interpersonal because of contact, because of fear of criticism, disapproval. Again, these persons also will prefer night duties to avoid interpersonal contacts. Whereas in schizoid, they don't want to talk with others. Whereas in anxious personality, they want to talk with others, but because of their fear of criticism, they will avoid talking. But here they will be willing to talk. Because of anxiety only they don't talk. But that it is not so. Associated features may include hypersensitivity to rejection, criticism. These patients do not enter into interpersonal relation unless they are very sure of uncritical approval. This disorder is an epitome of what is called as inferiority complex. They are also more prone to develop secondary depression. Here again, the treatment is individual psychotherapy, group psychotherapy, and behavior therapy, giving CBT to avoid these negative thoughts and negative self-appraisal. Coming to next, personality dependent personality disorder. At least 3 of 6 should be present, allowing others to make decisions for them, subordination of one's own needs to and others, and undue complaints with their wishes. That means here they will always be dependent on one person. For them, they will sacrifice their own needs, and even if they don't like something, they for want of them, they will act as if they are liking those needs. Unwillingness to make even reasonable demands. So if I ask this thing, my friend will leave me, so I will not ask to anything like that. Very much fear that they will be left alone. Always they will feel uncomfortable when they are alone. Preoccupation fears of being abandoned by a person who has close relationship. What will do if he leaves me? What will do if he is not talking to me? Like always they will have some fear. Limited capacity to make even small, minor decisions. If he has to make some 2 to 3% have to use reactions to them, so then only you can implement such decisions. Then the treatment is individual psychotherapy, group psychotherapy, behavior therapy, such as assertive training and social skill training is often useful. CBT is IND, psychotherapy of choice. Coming to OCD, it's also OCPD, it's also called as anaphylaxis personality disorder. Here, out of 8 traits, 3 should be present. Feeling of excessive doubt, preoccupation with details, perfectionism that interferes with task completion, excessive conscientiousness, excessive pedantry and adherence to social conventions, rigidity and stubbornness, unreasonable insistence that others submit to exactly their way of doing things, intrusion of insistent and unwelcome thoughts or impulses. Here they will have always they will follow rules. They always will be perfect. They will have a lot of details. They will be very rigid and stubborn. So if you see in higher positions in multinational companies, those persons will be anarchistic. If they develop such qualities like perfectionism, doing things perfectly with the excessive details, they will be placed in higher position, but that itself will become subjective destructive to some persons. So this disorder is often diagnosed in males, normal pre-morbid personality. And if you have such personality traits, there is high chance that the person will develop OCD, which is compulsive disorder, and they have major depressive episodes. Here the that's reaction formation. Psychodynamically, Sigmund Freud thought that there is a fixation in the anal satisfies. So treatment here is this person will have good insight and they themselves will treat psychiatric help. Psychoanalysis, psychoanalytic psychotherapy and group psychotherapy will be very helpful. Thank you, students.